All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to tear apart a huge belief in the financial world. The idea that having one of those slick foreign neobank accounts is your golden ticket to freedom. We're going to explore that myth and then stack it up against a very, very different reality. So let me just ask you this straight up. That cool neobank app on your phone, the one with the foreign account number, do you think it really gives you freedom? Or is it maybe just a very convincing illusion? Well, we are about to find out. So, first things first, let's pull back the curtain on what's being called the neobank mirage. This is all about that really popular idea that having an account with a company like Revolut or N26 somehow puts you outside the system. And let's be crystal clear about this. As we head into 2026, if you're still holding on to that belief, you are making a massive critical mistake. The rules have completely changed, and that sense of privacy you think you have, honestly, it's a ghost from the past. So, you might be asking, why is it an illusion? Well, it really boils down to three major traps that most people don't see. You've got automatic tax reporting, you're still liable for European taxes, and maybe the scariest one, algorithmic account freezes. Let's unpack these one by one. So, that first trap, it's all powered by something called the Common Reporting Standard, or CRS. And what you need to understand is just how total and automatic this system is. Think of it like a data pipeline. Your neobank has zero choice in the matter. It is required to report your balance and any interest you make directly to your home country's tax agency every single year. There's just no hiding from it. And once your government gets that data, this is what happens next. It perfectly shows the second trap. It doesn't matter if your bank is based in Lithuania or Germany. If you're a tax resident in Spain, for example, guess what? You're paying Spanish taxes. And on any gains you make, that's a hit of anywhere from 19 to 28%. The bank's location is completely irrelevant to what you owe. Which brings us to the third, and maybe the most terrifying trap of all. It's all about control. At the end of the day, your money isn't sitting in some vault with your name on it. It's just a digital number on a server somewhere. And a simple algorithm flagging something it thinks is suspicious can lock you out of your own money for weeks with absolutely no one to call. So if the neobanks are a mirage, where's the real oasis? Well, that leads us right into our next section, the sovereignty of brick and mortar. We're talking about taking a leap from this fragile digital world into the solid physical economy. Now let's get this strategy straight here. This is not some small adjustment, like just switching from one banking app to another. No, this is a fundamental shift in how you think. It's about moving your capital into a totally different legal jurisdiction and changing it into a completely different kind of asset. And this is why that shift is so incredibly powerful. When you invest in real estate in a country like Paraguay or the Dominican Republic, you get four massive advantages. Your investment is now governed by local tax law, not EU law. You own a real, physical thing, not just a balance on a screen. It becomes ridiculously difficult for a foreign government to get their hands on it. And it's a fantastic shield against currencies like the euro losing their value. This combination is what creates real structural freedom. Okay, let's really see how this plays out. We're going to do a head-to-head comparison of the tax situation. Let's look at what's being called the two tax worlds. I mean, just look at this. The difference is absolutely stunning. In the EU, any rental income you make gets hit with that same brutal progressive tax, 19 to 28%. But in a country with a territorial tax system, like Paraguay, you pay a simple flat 10% on the income you generate in that country. The savings are immediate, and they are huge. And believe it or not, in some places, it gets even better. Take the Dominican Republic, for example. Under a special law called Confotur, certain tourism projects get this insane incentive. 15 years. That's a decade and a half with no property tax and no income tax on your rental money. I mean, you couldn't even dream of a deal like that inside the EU. So we've covered taxes. But now let's talk about the most important thing of all, control. Who is actually in charge of your assets? This is the final showdown, real versus digital control. Let's just start with the most obvious risk. With a neobank, the chance of having your assets frozen is high. Some faceless algorithm makes a call, and poof, you're locked out. With real estate, that risk is zero. You hold the legal title. No algorithm on earth can take that away from you. You and only you are in command. And look, this table just lays it all out, plain and simple. Fiscal control, with a neobank, it's total. They see everything. With real estate, it's low.
Taxes, you're looking at up to 28% in the EU versus 0 to 10% abroad. Freeze risk, sky high versus basically non-existent. Inflation, your euros are bleeding value every day while a hard asset holds its own. And privacy, with a neobank, your name is attached to every digital crumb. With property, it's just a listing in a foreign registry. The difference couldn't be more black and white.
So the case is pretty much overwhelming, right? Let's switch from the why to the how. How do you actually put this into practice? Let's talk about your next move.
The strategy is really a simple 3-step journey. Step 1, you've got your capital sitting in a bank account, not really doing much and being constantly watched. Step 2, you take that monitored digital money and convert it into a real, tangible asset in a new country. And then, step 3, that asset goes to work for you, generating solid yields of 8 to 12% and, in many cases, locking in residency for you, a true plan B.
And really, this is the main takeaway. You're not just buying a vacation spot or moving your money around. You are taking vulnerable capital and transforming it into a productive, secure asset. You are literally buying a geographic insurance policy for your wealth, your future, and your freedom. So that really brings us to the final thought here. We've gone through the theory, we've laid out the strategy. The only question that's left is the one that really matters to you. Looking at these opportunities, which of these countries is the best fit for your budget to start making that move toward real financial sovereignty? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.